How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts. This is Jonathan Gillum, and this is The Experts Friday Night Toast on YouTube, Twitter, and on Facebook. And, as always, I had to start the show over again because we lost connectivity for some strange reason. First it was 9 o'clock, could never get the show started. Now it's 8 o'clock, I can't ever get the show started for some strange reason. I don't know, maybe it's because at the top of the hour, a lot of people start these things and the systems get overloaded. I don't know. But we are live now, and we're going to talk about Tom Price, his resignation, and how I've been preaching this thing for a long time. I think this is a home run for the Trump administration, and I'll tell you why. And also, I think, personally, the NFL fans that went to the games this weekend, I think they're failures, and we'll discuss that as well. Let's go to the warning order. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. All right, there we go. Okay, so first off, we made it to another week. It's Friday, and it's good to be here and with you all. And don't forget to share this show. Let me see what we got over here on Twitter. This week has been crazy numbers, weird numbers. There's been extremely a lot. See, I talked about this before. Evidently, I ticked one of the trolls off. But this is really strange. If there's any tech people out there who can figure this out, we used to have a million, up to 1 million people reached, 1 million pages that this show would reach. But our views were between 5,000 and 7,000. This week, we've been averaging at least that and went all the way to 20,000 for the night before last in views, but our reach has only been 5,000. How is that possible? You would think as the views go up that the reach increases as well because those things populate other pages. I don't know. So make sure, there's like 83 people watching right now on Facebook. Make sure that you share this. Even if you're going to stay for a few minutes, share it on your page. That way it helps populate the stuff. On Twitter, make sure you retweet it. Or I think if you're on Periscope, you can share it that way. Make sure you're giving me all the hearts that you can because we got to get this. I think you can monetize this somehow now on Twitter. So, listen, one of the things that I want to talk about tonight is that I like to pat myself on the back every now and then for doing some things that are right. And I think what happened today with Tom Price, the HHS Secretary, Health and Human Services Secretary, he's the first secretary level or his first cabinet member level individual fired from the Trump administration. When I read what happened, I 100% agree with it. I'm going to get into that in just a minute. But I got to tell you, a year and a half, 2 years ago when we started this show, I was talking about communism. Somebody reached out and wanted me to go over Yuri Bezmenov again. I'm going to save that until next week, and because we've already talked about that, and I'm sure a lot of people hear me reference Yuri Bezmenov a lot. I will tell you, there are videos of him on YouTube, and you can go over there and watch those. And then when we do talk about it, then you'll understand a little bit more. I got to turn this light down. Somehow this light turns itself up. I think it's the cord might be loose. So anyway, there you go. That's better. So go to YouTube, look up Yuri Bezmenov, and then you'll be able to watch some of his stuff. And then when we talk about it, it'll make a little bit more sense. But I was talking about communism several years ago. And as the more towards the election that we got last year, it became very evident that there were subversive tactics being used, not only in the Democratic Party. I think they're really the Republican establishment goes along with a lot of it, but primarily with the activists, the big money donors, the George Soros types, the Hillary Clinton types, and all these different individuals. And by the way, I had a Clinton, what's it called? A sighting today. I was about 30 feet away from Chelsea Clinton today. That's about as excited as I got. So, but I was talking about communism, and everybody's like, communism, man, you're going a little bit overboard on this. And I would talk about it on David Webb's show. I did a whole show last year on Sean Hannity's radio show when I was guest hosting. I did a whole show about communism. And it was a very enlightening show, and I think a lot of people saw exactly what was going on. But it seems like over the past couple of months, all this stuff has come to light now about the reality of communism. So, I didn't pat myself too much on the back about that. But I have been talking even when I was in federal law enforcement, how these upper echelon political appointees and deputy directors, they fly all over the place on these private planes. Or they take a military plane and they use it for their trips. And it's been very interesting because I don't usually agree with the reasons that they give in order to use these planes. I got to fix my lighting here. I think it's a little bit off. Let's see if this fixes it. A little bit. So, yeah, there you go. So, when it comes to, I don't agree. I think it should go even further than what it actually is. I don't agree with presidents using Air Force One and all his bodyguards and everybody that comes along with that to travel around and campaign for people. I think presidents should be barred from campaigning for other people. I don't know how in the world that could be legal, because see, here's the thing about the founding fathers and what they did. They wanted to get away from the tyranny. They wanted to get away from the special treatment for these elitists. Well, we've gone and done that because we allow these people. There should be some oversight by the civilians where we allow this or we don't allow these types of things, where the president says, I would like to do this, or Congress says, I'd like to do this, and when it has to do with something that's not national security. But the reality is going out and campaigning for a fellow Republican or fellow Democrat, to me, that's a personal trip, and it does nothing in consistency with the job in which they're hired, the official job in which they're hired. So they should not be using our aircraft and personnel, government personnel, that's literally, folks, millions and millions of dollars. And I don't agree with that. I think if the president wants to fly somewhere and campaign for somebody, then the Republican Party should have to pick up the entire bill. And if it was the Democrats, I'd say the Democrats had to pick up the entire bill. It doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't be able to do that in my job. You wouldn't be able to do it unless you're like some kind of upper echelon vice president or president. And we don't elect gods. We don't elect kings and queens. We elect people to do an effective job. Most of the time they don't. And then they take advantage of these perks. Now, when I was in the FBI here, we had placards for parking that we would put on our dash. And we could park in no parking zones. They didn't really like us parking in no standing zones. They didn't like us parking in bus stops or in front of fire hydrants. But pretty much everywhere else, we're good to go, right? But there were people that would go around and take pictures of this and try to make big deals out of it. And so that the city where they used to not even crack down on, really, I think bus stops are the main thing that they would crack down on. But they wouldn't, as long as your placard was up there in a no standing zone, they really wouldn't touch you. But these people went around and they started taking pictures of these things, these social justice warriors, thinking that they were really going to stick it to us because we were overriding our privileges with the parking. They look at it as a privilege. Well, they don't realize that those are emergency vehicles. We don't use those things for personal service, and if somebody does, they're breaking the law. And so the placards were there to keep the cars in proximity to where we, the agents, were. And so it makes sense, right? Well, what if I wanted to go to a movie or if I had a date? If I take my car, or if the local mayor in the city where I live wanted to go eat, and get to know me for whatever political reason, and I put them in the car and took them for a ride, it's illegal. It's illegal. Can't use the government property like that because I'm a peon. I was a peon investigator in the special, in the FBI. I was a special agent. Now, if you're president or vice president, evidently you can do that. You can use it for personal reasons. You can use it for political reasons. And it, to me, quite frankly, I think that's bullcrap. And when they talk about what was going on in the Obama administration, is shocking when you look at Leon Panetta, for instance. He won't even turn over his receipts, which, again, having worked in the government, maybe if I realized that, I would have done a whole bunch of bad things and just said, no, I'm not giving you the information back when I was in the FBI. Now, I'd never do that, but that's what they do. They do bad, nefarious things, and they don't give their they don't answer. Like they say, we want your emails. They say, we lost them. We want your receipts for your travel. No. Where else? All the veterans, the truck driver, not truck driver, most truck drivers are veterans. The veterans, the police officers, if the intelligence agents out there, all these people work for the government. If they said, we want to see your Easy Pass in your official car, you're not going to just go, no. I mean, they're going to do a full-scale investigation on you. They're going to get your Easy Pass. And if you're in the military, you're probably going to lose rank or pay. In law enforcement, you literally could be fired and even charged if you were using this stuff for personal gain. Believe it or not, in the military, we always heard these horror stories about the credit cards. They would give us government credit cards for certain things that we could use on an official capacity. And guys would go out and one guy purchased breast augmentation for his wife with his government credit card, as if that wasn't going to get him caught, right? Well, he suffered for it. I know somebody in the Bureau who went on a trip, an official trip. When they filled out their travel claim, they had put, and they thought they were in the right, or this, I think it had to do with travel days or something. They put an extra day of per diem on there, $57. The Bureau fired that person. Over $57, ruined their career. When we look at this story of Tom Price, he's going to repay, according to a senior department source told Fox News, this is off foxnews.com, that the total amount of money Price will repay, he's going to repay a lot of this money because it's taxpayers' money, is $51,887.31. I don't know how they come up with that specific number. Though that represents a fraction of the total cost. Now that's shocking to me. Price himself described the repayments as unprecedented and never been done before, to our understanding, before by a secretary, in spite of the facts the previous administration had secretaries that flew an awful lot. Okay, that's not a good defense there, Secretary Price. The fact is, when you do something wrong and you get caught because your boss is sticking to the rules, hey, that's on you. It doesn't matter what the other person does. Didn't you learn that, Secretary Price? No longer Secretary Price. Didn't you understand that, Tom Price, when you were in kindergarten, that just because Sally Lou wants to jump off or stand up on a chair and jump off and climb up on a desk and jump, that you should go ahead and do it too? That no. If it's wrong, you shouldn't do it. These people live a privileged life. They live a life where they think they are above the law and they're above the policies, and they listen, folks, it's that bad. It really is that bad. These people think that they don't have to follow any rules or regulations or policies or laws that we have to follow. They literally don't think that they do. And that drives me crazy. And transportation has been one of these things that they utilize and that they manipulate for their own well-being. In the case of Tom Price, he took. Now I don't necessarily think that he did anything wrong in this one part. I don't know what the policy is, but in one case, he, let's see where. He took a plane overseas. I'm trying to see where this is at. Okay. Where's it at here? Hold on. Okay, yeah, here it is. It was revealed last week, it's on FoxNews.com, that Price flew a charter to visit community health centers in New Hampshire and Pennsylvania. One leg from Dulles International Airport in the Washington, D.C. suburbs to Philadelphia International Airport, a distance of 135 miles. So, if it's official business and because an HHS secretary, any of these secretary level positions, cabinet level positions they call it, they're going to have their own security. They're going to have probably a secretary or personal assistant, whatever you call it, staff member is going to be there with them. And so I could kind of see if you're traveling on in official capacity that you would be able to take a military plane, for instance. Maybe that's not the case, but I don't feel so bad about that as long as they're doing official business. Here's what gets me. Politico reported this week that Tom Price took a military aircraft for official trips to Africa, Europe, Asia, all costing the taxpayers more than $500,000. Again, I don't know if I find anything wrong with that, but they also reported that he took government-funded private jet in August to St. Simon's Island, a Georgia resort where his family owns land, ahead of the address at a medical conference. I don't agree with that. I think that in itself is a criminal act. Not just you didn't follow the policy. I believe that's a criminal act because in and of itself, when you do that and then you don't tell people about it, you're in some way, shape, or form committing fraud against the government, fraud and waste. Yes, we know he's from Georgia. So he flew down there to an island where he owns land. It's not where he lives. He lives close to there. He's from close to there. But he owns this land and flew the plane down there and then went and gave a speech. I don't agree with that. So you see, these are the fine lines for them. But if you stepped directly out of that level and you stepped down and you monitored a couple of other agents and so forth, first of all, special agents and people at the GS-13 level, they're not going to get to take private airplanes anywhere. They're getting on a commercial airplane. They got to put it on their credit card, and then that gets reimbursed after the trip, just like everything else in the government, except for these people. I want to go give a speech, which I'm not sure what he was giving the speech for. I'm assuming it was for it was a medical conference, so I guess that had something to do with Obamacare and all this stuff. I don't know. Tom Price is a doctor, so I don't know. Maybe it was. It doesn't specify in this. Maybe it had something to do with his office of the Secretary of HHS. Or maybe it was a medical conference that he wanted to go to, and we could pay for it with our taxpayer money. I don't agree with that. In fact, I think it's virtually criminal without actually labeling it as criminal. If you see me drinking a lot of stuff, that's coffee to keep me awake. And if you haven't gotten your toast, we're going to do a Friday night toast here in a bit. You can go out and go get yourself something to drink here in just a minute. Okay. This guy says, what did Obama do when he caught you? We got more trolls, so I'm not even going to concentrate on that. So I've been saying this for a long time, and again, whether it's the president using the planes for political reasons to back people in his party, or go get a haircut in the case of Bill Clinton where he flew all the way across the United States to go get a haircut, those things are criminal in my mind. Those things are absolutely nefarious. They are living above the law. The whole thing I was trying to say with the placards earlier is that in that case, people felt like we were living above the law, like we were manipulating and abusing those placards in order to get to just live an easier life, right? Well, it came in handy when you were working, that's for sure. But if you use that placard and that car off duty, you're going to get hammered, quite frankly, fired. But it seems like in politics, it doesn't seem like this is the way it is, with these high-level politicians, with the political appointees, some of these deputy directors and so on and so forth, what they do is they will take full advantage, just like a guy who gets this parking placard and just takes full advantage of parking wherever he wants to, and because he knows law enforcement or something, he's not getting tickets. In this case, huge waste, huge fraud, and I think the HHS Secretary Tom Price, whether they put him on probation or not, I think he should be fined a tremendous amount, which he kind of is because he's paying that stuff back. But I don't think he should hold an office again. I don't think that once somebody does something like this, they should be able to hold another office. We got plenty of people out there that could run for senator, congressman, and take his place, whatever he was. So I pat myself on the back because I've been talking about this for a long time, and I don't think politicians see the reality of how important it is, like how much of a money waste it is, how much of an elitist thing it is. So where you just assume because you got elected to this quote-unquote higher office that you are going to be able to basically bend the rules however you want and do whatever you want. And I think there needs to be civilian overwatch of these agencies, and I think they should clamp down on them, for goodness sakes. So I'm glad to see that President Trump did this. I'm glad to see that President Trump actually stepped up to the plate and forced this individual out that was doing this. Now, other people have done it too in his administration, and I don't know if they did it to this extent, but every administration does this, and I've never fully agreed with this. So we're going to move to hold on a second here. All right. Let's move to the A block, I guess. I've already done basically the A block. So we'll move to the A block. And we're going to talk about why I wrote on there that I feel like all of these but first of all, let me say this real quick. If you have questions about why I feel the way I do about this the government use or the use of government equipment for private benefit or for politicking and all these things, if you don't agree with me, let me know on Twitter, @JGilliam_seal, or on Facebook at Jonathan T. Gilliam. Let me know what you think. And you can also write me at jonathan@jonathantgilliam.com, and I'll answer those as well. I find it highly criminal. So let's go to the A block, and we're going to talk about how I feel like not Super Bowl, but football fans that attended football games this past week and had the audacity to go up there and hold their heart like, we'll show them. You should have stayed home. That would have showed them. We'll talk about that. Let's go to the A block. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. All right. So I hosted David Webb's show earlier today and had a great conversation with Jason Delgado and about his new book. And I was able to plug my book quite a bit. I don't know how much it actually picked up in sales, but we're still cranking, folks, because of your word, because of the belief that you have in this show and the message, and my ability to bring the truth. The sales have been phenomenal. I mean, the more I find out about most first-time authors, most of them have a co-writer. They don't even write the book themselves, and most of them don't really make a whole lot off their off the first book, if anything at all after that point. So we've been rocking it, and started up at number 5. It debuted at number 5, just behind Hillary Clinton's book, and then trickled down. It's been back up into the hundreds again, up to 120, and then goes back down. It comes back up. It all depends on what I'm doing, how many viewers watch this show, how many viewers are ordering the book off of Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and so it fluctuates like that. So I can't thank you all enough. And as you guys did 2 days ago when I asked you and said, don't forget about the GoFundMe page, we end up getting 3 nice donations there. So don't forget about the GoFundMe page right here, gofund.me/The Experts Roadshow, right there, boom. And help me continue to fund this show. So I hate when people come on here, these trolls come on here and they try to accuse me of taking people's money for like I'm going to go out and spend it drinking and running like crazy all over the place. That's not going to happen. This money goes to this. The money that comes into my pocket goes into this. Everything that I've been doing over the past 2 years has funneled into this, and the book included, so it's all kind of working together. Now, they were saying that this past weekend that fans chant USA at Bears-Packers game as the players link arm for the anthem. First of all, how stupid are these NFL players and these owners, okay? If you want to protest, do it outside on your own time. Don't do it on the national anthem. It doesn't matter if you're locking arms, if you're taking a knee, if you're sitting down, if you're staying inside the dressing room. You are dishonoring America. You're dishonoring the people that have lived and died for this country. You're dishonoring the flag, and you're dishonoring the 60 to 90,000 people that sit in these stadiums and arenas so they can watch this show. You are failing all those people. In fact, it's a high insult. Linking arms is no different than kneeling. It's an insult. It's not a protest. It doesn't do anything but make you look stupid. It's not going to solve any problems. And for those people out there, those football players and the fans that went along with linking arms, if you think that this protest is a good thing and you think that, okay, I'm going to support them, Dale Jr., well, here's the facts on this, okay? As I've said over and over and over again, this is not about the inner city and crime and black-on-black crime. It's not even about kids getting shot by cops in the inner city in dangerous situations. What this is all about is communism and the subversion of this free nation. It's what it is. Just look up the players that keep participating in these things, whether it be the Clintons or Colin Kaepernick, whether it be anybody just about from the Democratic Party, many of people that are in the Republican establishment as well. All these people are guilty of feeding a lie because they know, you study their actions, they are subverting. The Ninth Circuit Court out in Berkeley, it's a scam what they have going on there. The judge out in Hawaii that used to be Obama's, I guess, college roommate or something, he's a scam artist. Folks, you have to realize that this whole system, and I tell you what else is going to be a complete failure in this case. It's going to be the people that go and play fantasy football who can't stop themselves and who have to watch the games so they can make trades and picks. I get it because people make money off of that, and I guess it's fun. I don't know what the fun is in it, but evidently it is fun to some people. Okay, that's fine. But, folks, you got to take a stand at some point. You have to take a stand and say, I am not comfortable being a part of something where people sit for the national anthem or where they use the national anthem to subvert the country. I think I told the story the other day. I had a conversation with a neighbor of mine who's very, very, very liberal and sees nothing wrong with this kneeling for the flag. But then as we started to talk, he started to get into the fact that that President Trump has screwed everything up and that he's doing this and he's doing that and F him and this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You are way too mad about somebody who's been in office for only 8 months. You're just way too wrapped up into this. And yet, you're not even perceiving what the real threat is, which is the creep of communism and the red-green alliance between communism and Islam. It's very dangerous. And so that's kind of what I see with these fans, right? You have this football game. You have, that's the Bears-Packer game. And what do? They come out there, they link arms, they stand in solidarity. The players did. They're standing in solidarity, right? They're standing either because they're too stupid to realize what's going on, they're probably not doing any research, or they agree with this. That's what I said about Dale Jr. You can't say a protest statement like he did unless you're applying the same type of subversion that's going on in this country. So these people need to realize it. You either get it or you don't. But if you stand with them, link arms with them, kneel with them, you are one of them. And people have to realize this. And quite frankly, I want to distance myself from this NFL thing because ultimately what I see happening is people aren't going to give up on the NFL. They're still going to go. They're going to link arms or forgive them, and they're going to say, "That's my football team. I know they did it, but I'm going to forgive them." Or they're just going to say, "I just love football too much." I think that the football players that have been going to these games over the past week since all this spun up, they are failures. Failures. I think all the coaches and players that linked arms with these the people who do understand the reality of what's going on, so they're linking arms with communists, those coaches are a failure, right? They're a complete failure, not just of coaching, but at their citizenry, because they're supporting a group of people that want to overthrow the country. I don't know why I have to keep saying that. That should send chills up your back. So with these people that attended, I think you've already lost in the Make America Great contest. You've already lost because now you're giving support to these people. And then you go in there, you link arms so you can be in solidarity with them. Are you crazy? So my challenge is this to the American people that go to all these different sporting venues is take some time off from it. You're not going to die. Let them know you mean business. All right? Just take some time and distance yourself from the NFL for now. That's what I would do, and I think it would show a huge resolve to the rest of the American people, and it would be a sacrifice for many of you, but in my mind, this is a holy sacrifice, and if you do it right, we can make a difference in the way that this country is ran, in the way groups like Black Lives Matter secrete themselves into this stuff. So yeah, harsh words, but I think that the people that attended there are the ones that actually they actually failed, and they reinforced the fact that these people can disrespect our country and they're still going to show up. So let me see what's going on here. Echo, echo, echo. I'll give you an echo. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. We're rocking it. All right. Let's go. That's about all I want to say about that. I don't really, I think Junior Nation, when Dale Jr. comes through, I think that they should turn their backs on Dale Jr. I don't think that they should boo when he comes out. Let him know what you think. He's a young punk, this guy, rich kid, grew up rich. Forget that guy. Let this last year in NASCAR be the year that he loses his fans. I've got a Dale Earnhardt Jr. hoodie. I'm never going to wear that thing again. In fact, maybe I'll burn it this weekend, ceremonially or however you say it. Kim Jong-un forces his people to stand. Okay. It's wrong. And I'm not saying you should force people to stand. What I'm saying is people should stand together and either stay at home or stay at home. I don't think you should support them. I don't think you should be supporting these people who want to subvert the country. This isn't about freedom, okay? When I'm telling people that they should stay at home, do those people have a right to do this protest? Absolutely. The NFL's private companies, they could stop it at any time. But do these people have the right to express their opinions? Yes. Somebody brought something up yesterday. They emailed me about it. I'm not so sure the law protects people when they are in what's called a confined area. So in other words, if you come in and you do a protest where people are unable to get away from that protest, that is not covered. Now, that's what this individual was saying. I'm not an attorney, so I have to look that up and see if that's the case. If that's the case, that's pretty interesting. All right. So then in that case, even if it was a government-sponsored event or just a free open air place, but where the people could not get away from that or look away because they're forced in that environment to have to be there in that moment, and they do these protests, that may not be covered by the First Amendment. I don't know. I have to look into that. So, but here's the point. I'm not saying that people don't have rights. I'm a veteran, whoever was writing that. I'm a veteran. I know what freedom is all about. I served freedom. I put my life on the line for freedom. I had, even in training, the guys that go through the stuff that I went through bleed for our freedoms. I know what freedom is all about. But what I'm telling you, folks, a society that fails to stand against subversion is going to fall. I don't care how many freedoms you have. I don't care how free you are. If there's a group of people that is trying to subvert your freedom, you should stand against them. And if it's NFL football players or if it's Dale Jr., walk away from them. Take the thing that gives them their power away, which is you and everybody else. You want to link arms? Go outside that stadium. Everybody that's in that stadium, let's say there's 70,000 people, go outside and walk away from the stadium together. That's what you should do. Hey, I would love this. Show up. Watch the national anthem for the NFL football games this year. But see, people aren't going to coordinate this because our citizenry is lazy. They're not unified. And quite frankly, a lot of them could care less because they were born into freedom. But in a perfect world, I would even do this. I'd spend a lot of money on a ticket to be a part of this. You go to the stadium, you stand there, you put your hand over your heart, you listen to the national anthem, and then everybody leave. Now, that would be amazing. Turn the TV on, watch the national anthem, turn it off. The point is, it's not about taking their freedom away. It's about not encouraging or supporting or paying people who are trying to subvert this country. Roger Goodell, I'm starting to think that guy's a communist as well. A lot of these owners, communists. Coaches, communists. Leave drunk and fighting in the parking lot. That's what I think. I don't know who wrote, who's writing all this stuff. So yeah, he is. Okay, there you go. I thought you were calling me that. Yeah, Roger. Roger is that. So imagine though, folks. Imagine. Do you remember that thing? I talked about this before. Remember the thing called Hands Across America? Wouldn't it be great to get that back, where we got everybody so fired up that next week they attend the NFL? I mean, record sales, right? You go in there. You buy a ticket, you watch, you don't buy anything, no concessions, no shirts, none of that stuff. You get a ticket, you go to the game, everybody stands together, watches the anthem, sings it out loud, and then everybody leaves, and you don't go back for the rest of the season. Oh, my Lord. If you did that, you literally would shake the very foundation of everything that's wrong about this country. You would break it. You would, in a second, break the spine of these criminal politicians, of these communist subverters, of groups like the NFL that support this nonsense, and these elitists and globalists. You would break their spines if you did that. Wow. But it's not going to happen. I hate to tell you, folks, last week was very emotional for me. It's very emotional. And you guys should be a little worried now, because at the start of this show, I am dead tired after talking all day and not getting any sleep because my dog's 17 years old and he keeps me up all night, every night. But I'm fired up now. And this is the only way this country is ever going to survive. When you look at the HHS director, Tom Price, a doctor who could not step away from his elitist behavior of, I should be able to use that plane, I should be able to do what I want, or not even that, just saying, I'm not going to get in trouble. We don't get in trouble for that, for wasting the taxpayers' money. And being fine with that. Stealing from the taxpayers. You got politicians on both sides of the aisle that never do anything. They don't get anything done. Nothing effective is ever done. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Why? Why is it crumbling? Because politicians don't care. They want to get their rich constituents contracts and jobs, and it's not because they care about the people and they want to get them jobs. It's because we've turned politics into, it was the one thing besides a volunteer military. It's the one thing that the founding fathers hoped the people would take ownership of, and they would get involved. They would understand why being a part of the government was so important, because it's of the people and by the people. But it's not. You're not. It is for the DNC and the RNC, by the DNC and the RNC. I've been saying this since 1995, when I sat on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial after spending a week in the White House and the Democratic and Republican parties. I was shocked to my core at how nothing was done. This is in 1995. Nothing was done for the purpose of getting things solved. It was all for the purpose of the two political parties that have been around for hundreds of years, have gotten more and more powerful, and the people have turned over more and more power to them. And you can look through history. It never works when the people do that. When you look at, and I love talking about the Bible and Israel. Israel's the perfect example of the strongest country that could ever be and the weakest a country could ever be. I believe that the Jewish nation, the Jewish people were chosen for a reason, because they are the perfect example of the strongest human, and they're a perfect example of the weakest human at the same time. And when you look at Israel, when they were being led through the desert and they cried out for kings. Well, first off, Moses went up on the mountain. He came back down. They had been crying out for an idol. It didn't work out for them that well. Those people did not get to enter into Israel. All those people died. And God made sure that the next generation was the one that got to enter into Israel. But every time the human beings look for a savior, it never works out for them. Because you know what they want? And it's the same example in the Bible. They want a savior to be like Superman, to come and take care of everything, defend them against the bad guys, take care of them from poverty and hunger, to help them attain these things, to give them what they want. That's not what a savior is. A savior is somebody that comes and gives you the freedom to guide yourself. so that you can grow whatever it is that you want, so that you can gain whatever prosperity that you want, so that you have the opportunity to achieve your dreams, so you have the ability to be what you want to be and the room to spread your wings and fly and do whatever you want to do. That's what a savior is, and it's called, in this case, the Constitution. And it was given to us over 200 years ago, and we've given that freedom, we've given that effective rule over to two private companies called the Democratic and the Republican parties. And this is what you get out of it. You get political appointees and politicians and higher up executives in the federal government that crap all over our Constitution. We give them, and the country says, oh, we got to elect this person so they'll fix everything. Not going to fix anything. That's why I like the Make America Great slogan, but the problem was Trump is not going to make America great again. I think he's doing a fantastic job. I think what he did today with Mr. Price, Tom Price, and getting rid of that guy, you wouldn't have seen that from any other administration. I don't care if you're liberal or conservative. You should be looking at this, and if you said, I don't like anything he's done and he's crazy, you should like this. He got rid of Tom Price for the right reason. And I would love to see him get rid of other people in the same way. But ultimately, folks, make America great again, that's on your back. And imagine if we stood together, bought tickets, went to the NFL. We'd have to give them a little bit of money, but we go there, we watch the game, or not the game, we watch the opening ceremonies and the national anthem, we stand together, and then we all get up and leave that stadium. There's always going to be some people left there, but imagine if 90,000 people got up and left and never went back for the rest of the season. Wow. That'd be amazing. Now, I don't want you, somebody just wrote he's doing what he can. Of course he's doing what he can. We're talking about Trump. I'm not saying he's not doing a great job. I think he's doing a good job. I don't know where all these people that say he's ruining everything. I haven't seen it. I don't know what he's ruining. I disagree with his daughter and son-in-law being in the White House, and I don't like nepotism, and it's dangerous. I don't like I don't like the way he's handling North Korea, to be honest with you. I don't like talking about what we need to do with our enemies. I don't like saying we're going to get rid of them. I don't like saying we're going to cut their finances. Just don't say anything. So there's some things that I don't like. I really don't care about the tweets. I think the more he tweets, the stronger his tweets get, and it takes power away from the press. But see, here's the thing about some of the stuff that Donald Trump does. He says that, like for instance, these people that wouldn't stand for the national anthem and that took a knee in the NFL are sons of bitches. Okay, I don't know if he said sons of bitches or son of a bitch. I don't remember which one. But anyway, either way, I'm saying sons of bitches. All right, I agree with him. But here's the thing: he can say whatever he wants, and then they react. Okay, and you know why they were able to pull that off, and then yesterday they're all linking arms as though they're still going to do something. You know why? Because the American people don't stand together. Love or hate Trump. The fact is, he's trying to stand up to these people for the right reason. Whether he said it poetically or like a New Yorker, okay? He's trying to do what's right as far as that goes. And I told you, I've criticized him before. I can't stand McMaster. I don't like many generals. I don't like the fact that the majority of people that worked in the White House before the election are still working in there. I don't like this stuff. I didn't like Anthony Scaramucci. I don't know what the heck that was all about. But I do believe, and the information I've gotten from the people that worked closely with Trump, that he cares deeply about this country. And when he does something that he tries to represent effective and upstanding citizenry and citizenship and being a citizen and saying that is a disgusting insult to the national anthem, the people that serve this country, and I think everybody that does that's a son of a bitch. You know what you should do? I learned this in Ranger School after going through SEAL training. I went through SEAL training first, then I went through Ranger School. I did an exchange for those of you that are saying, that doesn't work, you can't do that. Yes, you can do it. The SEALs can go through their training. They can't go through our training. I went through Ranger School, and there's actually an article where they had somebody there. And I remember the difference between SEAL training and Ranger School was that I didn't fear failing Ranger School. I knew I could do everything there. So I was actually able to learn what they were trying to teach us because their yelling didn't make any difference to me. It went in one ear and right out the other, and I just focused on what they were trying to teach me, and I actually had a pretty good time with it. And I think if the American people listen to what Trump is trying to do, and when he says something they don't agree with it, but they understand the direction that he's going with what he's doing, this light just came on all of a sudden. I believe that if the American people got behind him on these things, they would see an amazing result. And in the case of the NFL, I think that's what's missing. In the case of Hollywood, that's what's missing. In the case of these politicians from the Republican side, not just the Democrat side, that are screwing Trump and everything that he tries to do, if we stood together and said, no, we're not going to take this because we want things to be done effectively. We know that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party don't care about that. We don't know that about Trump. He's never proven that he's not trying to do what's effective. Maybe he's got a bit of an attitude. He's a New Yorker. You know, it is what it is. But I've never seen him not trying to do something effectively. He may fail in certain things. He may succeed in others. The important thing is that we stand behind him in cases like this where he's trying to stand up for the national anthem, not stand against freedom of speech. He's not standing against somebody's constitutional rights. He's saying, you are an American citizen. You should have respect for that. And if you want to protest and use your First Amendment rights, just do it respectfully and people can still get it. In fact, let me tell you what I think the president should do that I don't think he's being advised on properly. The president, in order to squash this nonsense, should make it top priority to fix police and police training, police recruitment, police equipment, to make sure patrolmen across the country are trained to the highest of their abilities, to get rid of people who shouldn't be in that job and that were hired because they're a woman or a man or because of the color of their skin, and that was it. Not because they're good at it, not because they're qualified. They got hired because of some characteristic that they have in their form. Get rid of those people. Peer eval them out. Look at their records. Do whatever you got to do. Get rid of them. Change the way these people are recruited and brought in there so that you have winners being picked. Change the tactics. The tactics that were used in Orlando to go after that terrorist in that nightclub were the same tactics used by cops in Columbine. The tactics have advanced far beyond that. But these cops, that's what they want to do, and that's what they want to use, and it failed. The president should make it his utmost priority to fix these police departments and then fix the inner city. Not one politician has gone after to fix the inner city. Hold people accountable that are on welfare. Hold people accountable that live in government housing. Don't let it be a crutch, not a bed. In other words, you don't lie in dependency. We help you by giving you assistance to get out of dependency. You don't see anybody doing that. That should be a number one priority. Making people who live in government houses, those should be the cleanest houses around. You should not be afraid. You should say, I'm tired. I want to lay in the grass. I'm going to go over to the housing project and lay in the grass and get some rest with my dog. You should be able to be that safe. That should be a top priority. No gang insignia. Lock people up big time for doing that. Get rid of the gangs. Go after them just as hard as you're going after the illegal immigrants. Stop the drug flow. Do what Rudolph Giuliani did on the Lower East Side. Put a cop on every block. And anybody so much as thinks about doing something wrong, they go to jail. You block the box, you know, when you come up to a four-way intersection and you pull out there because of traffic and you end up blocking it, you get a big ticket for it. That's what I do. It's called the broken window policy. Anything, any little thing, and they stopped the crime. You can change the way that they hand out the, what's it called, the where you can have a house and you can have a business here. You can't have a business here. You can have a house here. I forgot what that's called. But basically what Giuliani did was he changed the rules where you couldn't have a strip joint within a certain distance from each other. It was a pretty good distance, and it cleaned it out. Just that in itself. And then changing the regulations, the codes, I guess is what I was looking, maybe the codes. But zoning, yeah, there you go. Thank you, zoning. You can manipulate the zones in order to get rid of this stuff. Put a cop on every street corner. You know, augment federal law enforcement with local police department. Be great training. Federal law enforcement needs it, trust me. And you put them in there so they can go down there and help stop this crime and clean it up. Go after illegal gun sales so hard, and then give legal gun sales a boost, and help people that want to defend themselves. Help just throw our tax dollars into crushing New York and Chicago and these other quote-unquote gun-free zones that are full of illegal guns, and crush that no-gun zone to where you can get legal guns in there, because it's proven where there's more guns legally, the crime goes down. Where there's more guns illegally, the crime goes up. You see, if all these things I'm talking about, if you do these, what are you going to do? You're going to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the minorities in this country. You're going to bridge the gap between the minorities and law enforcement in the inner cities. I like to say poor, because that's the reality of it. Yeah, there's probably some racist cops. There's dirtbag cops. I also know dirtbag doctors. I've arrested some of them. Attorneys that are dirtbags. Pharmacists that are dirtbags. Politicians, a lot of them, dirtbags. The fact is, there's always going to be bad people in there. But in order to bridge those gaps between the impoverished, the minorities, whatever you want to call it, and the police, you got to fix these other things. But here's why I'm saying this. When you fix these things, you know what happens? There's no more reason to kneel. And you know what's going to happen? I can guarantee you this. Those same people, the Colin Kaepernicks, the Dale Juniors, the Linda Sarsours, the Tamika Mallorys, they're just going to find another reason to hate. They're going to find another reason to cry. They're going to find another reason to kneel. And then what happens? The American people will say, ah, now I see. They're fake. They're just using division to subvert the people. They're not doing anything. The people that I just mentioned, they haven't done a thing to solve inequality between men and women in the workplace. Come on, give me a break. How many lawsuits are you hearing about on a daily basis in this country because of inequality in pay? It's not happening. Maybe in certain jobs, at certain ranks, there might be a difference where that flexibility occurs based on resumes, or maybe the boss is a bigot. I don't know. But by and large, you're not seeing that difference. You're not seeing, like Hollywood's a great example. Hollywood always talks about how much, women aren't getting paid and they shouldn't have guns in this country. Meanwhile, almost all their movies have guns, and there's a great disparity between the actors and actresses in pay. They're a bunch of hypocrites. That's what they are. They're sons of bitches, just like the NFL players. Hey, you can hate me for saying that, but that's the truth. So, what's the point of all this? I think the president should concentrate on these things to cut their legs right out from under them. But I think the American people, if they stand with the president and we get this type of message to him, and then the people do things, I can guarantee you, if all the stadiums in this country did what I mentioned a minute ago, where everybody this Sunday or next Sunday, everybody shows up, he buys a ticket, sell all the stadiums out. Just give them that one little chum, sell every stadium out. Everybody shows up. They stand for the national anthem. They put their hand over their heart. They watch the flyover. They salute the flag, whatever you want to do. And then you leave, and you don't go back for the rest of the season. What do you think the president would do then if he saw people standing with him? I think he'd move forward even faster, even harder. That's the type of guy he is. Yes, that's my beer on the table. We're going to do a Friday night toast. You got to go get a beer. If you don't have a drink right now, go get your beer. I got to get Rico because I guess he needs to make an appearance for Friday. Let me go wake him up. Stand by 1 second. Wait one. What's up, buddy? I love this. I got to wake him up for a change. Come here, sit right there. Hold on. Stay right there. Let me plug this back in. There you go. Now I can hear myself. All right, you can sit here while we do a toast. Yep. For those of you joining for the first time, this is a stinky 17-year-old Jack Russell named Rico. Say hi. He's a little stiff. He's got a little arthritis. Come here. And he's a good dog. He's loyal. He's got over 3,000 miles on these paws right here. Big runner. Used to run 8 miles a day and then wrestle with Jesse. Can you just put your head up there for a minute? Thank you. And so you want me to let you down or do you want to stay up here for the toast? What do you think? Yeah, okay. You stink. It's bath time. All right. Say goodbye. All right. Yeah, you sit right there. Okay. I get to watch, so I do things live, and then on the other video screens, I can see it. There's a delay. That was kind of funny. You bet you guys thought I was going to throw him. All right, folks. Thank you all for coming on a Friday. I hope you get your drinks now. Let's go to the Truth Zone and do our Friday night toast and get this Friday on. I sure do like the fact that I started this show at 8 now. Let's do it. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. All right, 2 things I saw while I was manipulating the screens there. 1, you don't have to drink to do a toast. I got coffee right here, and yes, there has been times when I've used water and nobody knew it. This is the Constitutional Quick Reaction Force Cup. Yes, I got your email, and I got to contact my good friends that are doing these so that we can get these for sale for you. You don't have to drink. You can drink whatever you want. And then somebody said you should burn the Dale Jr. Hoodie and put it on YouTube. I plan on doing that. Go retire, Dale. Your days are over with. All right, folks. I'm ferocious when you come against the United States and the things that it stands for. One thing I've learned throughout my training and all these different adventures that I've taken in life and done all these things, folks, one of the things I've learned is that we all have constitutional rights, and you have the ability to do what you want to do. You should have equal rights and equal opportunity. You have the ability to say what you want. But if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, even though you have the right to say it, well, they have every right in the world to punch you right in the face. They may go to jail for it. It's called free will. And here's the thing, folks. If the American people stand together, your rights are secured. If the American people stand up for what is moral, for what is ethical, for what is respectful, then I can guarantee you your rights will always be secured. When the American people stand together, there is no enemy that can come against us. There is no subversion that can ever happen. There is no politician that can secrete themselves in to destroy this country. When the American people stand together, this is what happens. The utopia that communism lies to people and tells them that will exist if they rebel and come together through a synthesis by any means necessary, that's never going to happen. But when free people stand together, that is the closest to living in the presence of God that you will ever be on the face of this earth. Your protection, your rights, your ability to be the best and do the most will always be there. If you stand together, less people will be dependent. More effective things will be done because you, the people, can stand together and say, no, this has to be fixed. But the American people don't do that. If you stood together, what would happen? You, the people, would rule. Not these kings and queens that we've made out of our politicians. So let's do this. I raise a toast and a challenge to the American people. Concentrate on standing together. Forget about your anger in politics. The majority of that stuff it's just there to make you wince so that you will vote for this person or that person. Stand together, folks. Be a part of the American dream and the thing that the Founding Fathers intended us to be. We the people. So I challenge you, raise a toast, folks. Raise the toast to us and that we may stand together and that ultimately will fulfill our duty as citizens of the United States of America. Drink it up. I didn't get a good breath. No, I'm not going to burp. Not with a microphone on anyway. So let's do this. God bless every single one of you. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Think about it. If you're going to one of these football games, is it necessary? Do what you can to unite people. Have dialogue. Let's continue this on Monday. Let's stand together. Let's continue this dialogue. Share the show. Retweet the show. Tell people about the show, about the GoFundMe page, about the book, which I didn't even put up today. Right there, it's right in front of me. I made it a little too big. Boom. Do that. Let's get this book selling more and more. It's on the rise again. Let's get it going. Let's get the GoFundMe funded. Let's get ready, folks, because as soon as this book comes out, I have a feeling this show is going to spin up. And I'm taking you all along for the ride. I'm Jonathan Gillum. You guys know that. I served this country for a long time because I love this country. I love what I've been given, and I don't take it for granted. And I'm just going to leave you with this thought. If you wake up tomorrow and serve, you'll be your happiest. If you bleed for somebody else, you'll be your happiest. Remember that. It's not what you get, it's what you give. What you get in return for that is amazing. I'm Jonathan Gillum, former Navy SEAL, Federal Air Marshal, security contractor, and FBI special agent, and servant to your rights, to our Constitution, and to you. And this is The Experts. The truth has arrived. Hey, I got a great idea. If you were going to buy tickets this weekend to go to why do I keep saying Super Bowl? To a football game, unless it's collegiate football, why don't you go donate that money to the Experts Roadshow, the GoFundMe page? You'll see it go right across the screen. Trust me, folks, that money's going into this show. I'm preparing for a road trip. You guys helped me get this truck tuned up. The truck is running good now. I have a feeling we're going to need a laptop again here pretty soon. That's coming up, a new camera. So keep the donations coming. We'll use this to make America great again. So don't be afraid to donate to this. Great things are coming out of this. God bless. Have a great weekend. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.